Hello, everyone. This is my turning into now part three of my receiving a moving violation, pleading not guilty, being found guilty at the magistrate's level, appealing it to the county court, and being found not guilty there in front of a judge with the prosecutor present, full blown trial, pseudo like trial. But I did want to, first of all, read. There is the statute that I followed. I was talking about, researching and making yourself familiar. This is the statute for going through, or, that's the lay person saying, excuse me, going through a stop sign. It's section 3323.0, title 75, vehicle code. If a stop is made but visibility is blocked, a driver may slowly inch forward to get a better view provided they have complied with the initial legal stop. So that's pretty much it. It's very succinct. I think it's very easy to understand as a lay person. It's basically saying where the stop sign is, you make your initial stop, and if you need you need to inch forward to ensure you're safely entering that intersection, not just go full blown into it. So that really helped again in my case. The other thing I wanted to mention, I did say in my other video that I was found not guilty at the magistrate. That was not correct. Again, I got the moving violation, pled not guilty, went to the magistrate, was found guilty, appealed it, went to the county court, and was found not guilty of the citation. The other thing that I wanted to mention that I think is very interesting, and I can't say this enough, do not plead guilty. If, hey, if you don't have the time and it's disposable income to you and you just want to, write a check, that's fine. But if you're kind of, want to pursue it in the court system, I say plead not guilty, do your research, show up prepared. And I can tell you, when I cross-examined this trooper 2 times, once at the magistrate's office, once at the county court, his demeanor and his delivery was sadly lacking. And the only thing that I can conclude is this is a product of the court system that everyone pleads guilty. So these troopers are really not prepared when they have to go and defend their actions as to giving you a citation, because I owned him. I mean, that's like I said, my title is I pantsed him. I mean, I just can't believe some of the answers that he was giving, and just unprepared, not articulate, seemed to be caught off guard. So, that's just kind of today's society. So now I'm going to go into the actual magistrate's hearing, and I took these notes. This was, like 6 months ago. The whole process did take, I'm going to say it took about 6 months to have the magistrate's hearing, to get the actual hearing, then to appeal it, get that hearing. And these courts are pretty backed up. So this happened 10/7 of 25. This was the notes that I took after the magistrate's hearing. I arrived 15 minutes early. I called it a ridiculous podunk magistrate's office with a completely unprofessional constable who was doing security. And look, I appreciate humor, but he was like doing a bit like a stand-up comedian, his 15 minutes. And I didn't find it funny. I found it unprofessional and a little creepy. He made a joke that he had the same purse as me. So as soon as I got there, the trooper approached me with an offer of no points but a higher fine. And again, I do think that fine was $500 because my court fees show with all the administrative fees, it was $180. I added if I could think about it, or I asked if I could think about it. He really didn't respond. Very shortly after that, I was called into the magistrate's office. That's kind of like the courtroom. I said I wanted to plead not guilty as soon as I sat down, because I do believe the magistrate asked me. The trooper was then asked to present his side of the story. This is what the trooper said. Trooper said he drove back to see if there was a warning sign to alert drivers of impending stop sign. He provided evidence to judge that I do not have a quote-unquote clean record. He did not have a picture of the sign that he referenced to present to the magistrate. It was just his word. Trooper did not reference body-worn camera for my traffic stop, and I would request it, and I could have requested it during discovery, I guess. Trooper did not reference my demeanor during the traffic stop. You know, I was just kind of hoping he would yeah, she was very polite, never mentioned that. And I was also very apologetic and respectful. Trooper said that he was on traffic duty while driving through this little town, rural town. My testimony defense was the trooper did not see me stop way back at the stop sign and only saw me pull out after double checking I could safely do so. And I also said, you know, you could tell obviously this car coming down the road towards me was a police officer. So why would I pull out? I'm working in an unsafe condition in front of a police officer. There's plenty of room to pull out. I did yield at the stop sign. Trooper corroborated my statement that he made. I did ask him, is it possible that you did not see me? And you know, I'm kind of surprised that he said, yeah, it's possible I didn't see you, that he may not have seen my initial stop. The magistrate during my testimony appeared to be searching online. That was lovely. Didn't even seem to be listening to me, and not listening to anything I said. I asked the trooper about his mistake. He put on the citation road as opposed to street. I did research, and it appears that, you know, that could actually work against you. But the magistrate he really didn't care that I was sweating him, the trooper, about why he couldn't get the name of the street right. And this is what surprised me too. I asked the trooper why it's important that you get details on a citation correct, and you know, it was street versus road, and he seemed very unsure, and asked in a question. He sat there for 30 seconds mulling over the question, and he seemed very unsure and asked his response in a question. It wasn't a definitive answer. And he said, to testify in court? And I responded, no, it's for public transparency and trust. That everything else, you know, a lot of people are held accountable for a mistake like that at their workplace. I told the magistrate that there is reasonable doubt. He did find me guilty. On the way out, I went back out into the waiting room, and the magistrate appeared in the doorway, and I asked the judge why he would try to keep me from earning a living. Am I earning money by, you know, not cutting me a break? He said, I don't comment on verdicts. Appeal if you don't like the decision. I did thank the trooper, but I don't recommend discourse with the magistrate. I was just so mad that I couldn't help but say something to him. So I also did want to read my statement that, you know, because you have an opening statement when you're in front of the magistrate after the trooper says what happened. I said, I'm going to prove that I did not fail to stop at a stop sign, and I did not fail to yield to a vehicle after stopping at sign. I am not familiar with this intersection. Having never encountered it before, I stopped at the recessed stop sign from the intersection and then proceeded closer to the street. Since the posted speed limit is 25 miles per hour and I saw a unmarked police vehicle, I proceeded to enter the intersection in front of the officer at a safe distance. Officer Fry initiated a traffic stop, and I immediately pulled over, and Officer Fry issued me a traffic citation. But again, this goes back to reasonable doubt. So Yeah, this is the amount that they wanted to charge me. So after I, was in court, they are so polite to give you a breakdown of all of your fees. And if you can't see that, it's $184.75. So after I was found guilty, I immediately went into research mode. Now, how do I appeal this? And it was actually a little confusing, but quite simple. At first, I went to the Prothonotari's office, which was not correct. You go to, I believe it's called the Clerk of Courts, and yeah. So you fill out a sheet. It looks like this, and the charges, and it's a very simple piece of paper to fill out. And once you fill that out, you wait for a scheduling date that comes in the mail. And I can tell you, this was filled out. It looks like October 16th, and the date wasn't until, I want to say, the end of February. So it was a long time. But also, when you get these citations, and again, this really was critical for me because I do drive a lot to earn a living, and I stressed over it. I thought about it a lot. And a YouTube content creator that I really enjoy and watch religiously was arrested a while back for, kind of persecution of exercising his First Amendment rights. And he spent either 60 or 90 days in jail. And obviously, it was very traumatic for him. And he talked about it a lot in his YouTube content and said that you have got to keep your body right during these these types of situations. A lot of times, you just want to, you're upset about it, and so it's important that you exercise, get outside, find distractions, keep yourself busy, stay positive, do research so that it boosts your confidence that you will be exonerated if you are tenacious enough. And to be honest, I didn't have a lot of confidence in the court systems. I really thought they were kind of out to get you. It's kind of a waste of your time. But I had such a positive experience with this judge that he listened on the appeal, not the magistrate. The magistrate's experience was extremely unpleasant, and just shows the kind of dregs of people in the legal system. As I said, he didn't even appear to be listening to a lot of very thoughtful things, and I'd put a lot of time into it. He just obviously had already made up his mind before I came in that courtroom, and no matter what I said, he was going to find me guilty, which is really kind of depressing and unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. So I was hoping that he got notice that his decision was overturned. But now in my next video, what I would like to talk about is the appeal going in front of that judge. That was not something that I anticipated. I really thought it would be much more informal. It was what I would call a formal hearing. You are in a courtroom. They allow other people to be in that courtroom, which is unnerving. You have a lot of people listening to you. And you go and sit at the defendant's table. There is a prosecutor. She actually talked to me prior to the actual hearing in front of the judge, and yeah, it was something. And if I had known that it was going to be that formal, I definitely would have psychologically prepared for it more. But to be honest, I kind of liked it, the off the cuff kind of feeling that I had to, get myself together and not fall apart and be able to ask the trooper, cross examine him. With the help of the judge. I mean, he was very patient in helping me formulate the questions because sometimes I was not doing it correct. But anyway, yeah, I am very proud of the time that I put into this and the lessons that I learned. And again, I encourage everyone to, to if you can, plead not guilty. And it's the time though. You can't plead not guilty and not do research and not come prepared and not know what to expect, because it can be overwhelming. These attorneys who do this day in and day out, they obviously, it's a job to them and they know what to anticipate. But someone who is not a practicing attorney, it can be overwhelming. And so you do not want to go into that courtroom unprepared, because you're gonna get found guilty. They're gonna rule guilty, uphold that original decision. So anyway, again, if anyone has any questions, if you're in a situation where you want to plead not guilty for a moving violation, I'm very open to questions, send comments, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.